we hear this call, and we'd actually been talking to some of the 3rd District officers about this problem. And we were able to dispatch our drone, Raven, that responded in about a minute and 45 seconds, is able to get overhead. And we actually see this individual leaving the store.
Montgomery County 911, what's the address of the emergency?
Welcome to another episode of Voices of Service. I am Cassandra Tressler, and this is Assistant Chief Darren Frank. Today, we're discussing a fascinating topic that is revolutionizing emergency response: drones as first responders. Imagine a world where drones can swoop in to provide near immediate assistance during emergencies, entering into dangerous environments at lightning speeds. Well, that world is upon us.
Today, we have with us Captain Jason Cokinos of the Special Operations Division to not only discuss our department's Drone as First Responder program, but to provide you a more in-depth understanding as to the capabilities of the drone as first responder and how our department plans to use Raven to better protect our community. Jason, thanks for joining us today. A lot of excitement around your assignment. First of all, you are captain of our Special Operations Division. So
Yes.
what does that entail?
So Special Operations Division entails SWAT, K-9, our managed search operations, our public order teams, and obviously drones.
And now drones, Raven.
So we also have emergency services as well.
Okay. So this is going to come up during the interview multiple times if I can crowbar it in. I'm a huge Top Gun fan. And this is about as close as the police department will come to anything flying, which is really cool. So you have done a great job over the last few months, and the entire Montgomery County team. It's a team effort to get our Drones as First Responder program spun up. So we've been at it now. We've been live for how long?
So we've been live for a week. We did some kind of soft testing for about a week or two before that, but we've been officially live for a week.
Okay.
And have we seen any success stories at this time?
So yeah, so we have, there's been success in many different ways, with regards to some of the points of the program. Improved response times. We've been first on scene to calls, overwhelming majority of the time. We've seen 2, I think, examples of the response times correlating to apprehensions.
Okay.
So we had a repeat shoplifter on George Avenue at the CVS. Every day goes in, victimizes the business, gives the employees, problems, and basically just steals things and walks out.
Like what? What's he stealing?
Personal hygiene products, whatever he can grab in the store, whatever's on the shelves.
And that we've seen, people don't think of this shoplifting enough, although they've seen it in the news lately, right? Because stores are closing because they can't control it. But so anyway, how did Drones as First Responder do with this thing?
And I want to be clear that it's not someone going and stealing a toothbrush for themselves or filling up garbage bags of stuff. So the call comes into repeat shoplifter in the store. He's got a trash bag. He's filling it up with stuff. Based on the location and the busyness of Silver Spring, this guy has been able to get away before our patrol officers have gotten there. And so in this case, with the Drone as First Responder program, we're monitoring the calls that are coming in. We hear this call, and we'd actually been talking to some of the 3rd District officers about this problem. And we were able to dispatch our drone, Raven, that responded in about a minute and 45 seconds, is able to get overhead. And we actually see this individual leaving the store with the stolen items, gets onto a Metro bus, and then the Metro bus goes south on George Avenue. And we're able to observe that and then radio that information to the ground patrol officers, who ultimately are able to catch up with the bus at George Avenue and Colesville Road and make an arrest. And the good thing about this is they're now looking back, our Central Business District team is looking back at all these previous events involving this subject to see if they can charge him with over a dozen other times that he's gone in and victimized the business. So that was a great example of the Drone as First Responder getting there quick, giving that situational awareness, the information to officers. What we do in the operations room is obviously we have someone that is able to control and coordinate the camera and different things of the drone. But we have another person in the room that's able to call the complainant, right, and get more information. As officers are driving, we can then share information and help adjust what we're seeing and provide information to officers as well.
Now, so I was commander of the 3rd District, and when I was there, you know, the same issues that we were having then we're having now. One of them is theft from auto, and you mentioned 2 interesting things, right? Number one, the coordination with officers. So I understand Raven was dispatched, again, as part of the Drone as First Responder program, was dispatched to an issue it was called for from the officers.
Yeah, so in this case, our 3rd District officers, they had observed some potential criminal activity, subjects possibly breaking into vehicles, and we know that's a big issue countywide. And so one of the officers actually got on and requested our air support through Raven, which was nice, and we hope to see more of that, to assist them while they were trying to monitor these subjects. And it's dark. You know, it's hard to see sometimes where people are. The 2 suspects were on foot. So what we were able to do is within 30 seconds, we were overhead of the area, and we were able to, using IR, observe these 2 individuals in the dark. We can see their heat signatures. And we were able to maintain a visual observation of the suspects while the officers on the ground were trying to also keep an eye on them, but then coordinate a safe and effective way to interact with these 2 suspects. And while we were watching them, you know, they're still breaking into cars and things like that. So we were able to really assist those officers, and that's what we want to do. We want to assist officers with not only decision making, but how can we make things better for them. And so in this case, being that we had the observation, it was able to allow those officers to strategize a way to approach these individuals. And they did stop them safely, got them in custody, and they actually, each of them had loaded firearms on their person. So it was more than just a simple theft. You know, they had loaded guns.
Yeah.
Right, and that's you hit on a couple points. That's a big deal, right? Number one, officers saw them committing the break-ins and called Raven in, right? Because we have to figure out how to do this safely, because unfortunately we know there's a lot of firearms out there. And then because of that support, you're able to take them into custody, and really what could have been a deadly force situation, right? Two subjects breaking into cars but armed with handguns, and they're able to do their job and take them into custody, take 2 guns off the street, and then probably solve most likely about 100 theft from autos.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. It was great work by the 3rd District officers, and we're just happy we can support that type of great work and do what we can to help them, obviously help officers and the community be safer, and then bring you know, some reduction to some of these crime problems that are victimizing the people that live down there and the businesses.
Incredible. So I have to ask you, you guys keep saying Raven. Where did this name come from?
So although it's a drone, it's an aircraft. It's, you know, FAA, you know, whether it's a helicopter, an airplane, or a drone, they regulate all these things. So we need to come up with a call sign, right? And so we did a lot of research, you know, and in the DC region, you know, Guardian and Eagle and Falcon, these type of call signs are already utilized. And then there are some drone as first responder programs on the West Coast that use certain call signs, and we didn't want to take something that was already used. So we started doing a little research. You know, what is a call sign that is short, that'll fit in our CAD system, that we can use on the radio, that's brief, and is something that kind of ties into the program. So in the research, we found Raven. So looking at the bird, no association with the football team. But it's true. Hey, I'm an Eagles fan, so I can say this. So, you know, ravens are interesting. You know, sometimes people think of a crow. That's like kind of a cousin. But a raven, if you read about them, very intelligent, one of the most intelligent birds, right? And very adapting. It can adapt to different environments. So we look at some of the things that we're looking to do, right? We're looking to provide intelligence and information. We have to be able to adapt depending on the circumstance, whether it's day or night, in between buildings, in a residential community, right? Ravens are known to work in pairs or in small teams. So we have the teamwork that we work with officers on the ground. So kind of putting that all together, we identified that that was a good kind of fit for the program.
So now I got to go to my Top Gun questions. We have a bunch of decentralized pilots, right? We put out a position announcement, and we have officers doing this as extra duty. Do they get call signs?
So what's funny is, and not many people know this, only the people that are pilots know this, and I guess I'm going to spill the secret. They're in the system, everyone does have the option of picking something. We don't officially use it in any official capacity, but in the back-end system, there are names for people. So I'm Stinger.
I was going to say, I know you fly drones. So,
Yep.
All right, you're Stinger.
So you remember the bald guy in Top Gun with the cigar who's
Yes.
yelling it?
Okay.
So I'm the angry cigar smoking guy,
Nice.
kind of the boss.
Okay.
And some people have some different things. And it's not only Top Gun, right? They can choose from any aviation thing. So, but that's just kind of an internal joking thing. It's not official, but
You're right.
yeah.
We got to have a little bit of
Yep,
fun.
you got to have some fun.
You got to have some fun in this job as we're working away on this. Now, the other fun part that we don't have to do, but I want to know, so you have some poor soul, right? What was it, 32 degrees? Was it freezing this morning?
Yeah,
Although, Raven's flying at night, so it's probably 32 degrees then. We have some poor soul on top of a building somewhere that's part of this program.
Yeah.
What is that?
So they are a really important piece of the program, and so we have contractors that they're FAA Part 107 pilots, and they receive a background check, and they're on our waivers through the FAA to be on the roof. And technically, they're the remote pilot in command for the regulatory terminology. And what they do is they help with the launch and the landing. They ensure that the airspace is safe, and they monitor the drone while it's up. And if there was an emergency, they could take control, and they can do stuff like that. So, very important member of the team. A couple years from now, as technology advances, is that position going to be replaced by some technology? Yes, it's already being tested out in the Midwest and the West with replacing the rooftop person. But because of the airspace we're in, we have to have a contractor up there. And so we are on version 2 of a structure up there on top of the roof to deal with the cold. So this program's currently being done in California, and it's 70 degrees, 75 degrees. It's perfect weather up there. So this is the first program that's being done, particularly in our area in the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, and it gets cold here, and we have weather. So what we're testing out, we tested it one day last week, we're testing it this week, is essentially a clear bubble tent. And it became popular in COVID. People, you'd sit in it, right, the bubble.
Right.
And so we have a desk, a workstation up there, and we have this bubble tent. And so far, the feedback has been positive. We tested it only one day. We're going to test it this week. But it's thick. It's structurally pretty sound. It's rated up to 35-mile-an-hour winds. But we think that's going to keep our people warm up there. So,
Well, that's good. It's better than the devices that I saw some parents in at a softball tournament in 40-degree weather. They were zipped up in these little tiny
the single pod.
little tiny cabanas. I was like, I just have my blanket. So, all right. So
Yeah.
we're trying to go beyond blankets for them.
Yes. Yeah, we got to take care of them.
And take care of them. Okay. Well, that's good.
Well, awesome. So at this point, do we have 1 or 2 areas? In my understanding, we're going to be in the Silver Spring and the Wheaton.
Yep. So we're live with Silver Spring.
Okay.
We are in the process. We've identified a Wheaton site.
Okay.
And we're going through the legal MOU paperwork, different things like that, but and some technology pieces. But we hope to be up in Wheaton in December. We're working as fast as we can, hopefully in a couple weeks. So for the pilot program, it's 2 sites, downtown Wheaton and downtown Silver Spring. And we're currently up in Silver Spring, and we plan to be up in Wheaton soon.
And how are those 2 areas decided upon for the pilot program?
So our crime analysts section, amazing to help with data, right? Everything's data driven. We're not just kind of picking something and saying, oh, it's a good idea. So we look at what are our densely populated from a business and residential standpoint, high call volumes, where are we experiencing significant staffing shortages, and call hold times. So, right, how can we help with that? So the data has shown downtown Silver Spring and downtown Wheaton to be two areas. There's a lot of different areas in the county that this potentially would be a successful thing. But for the pilot, we chose those two areas because they're very busy and they're very short-staffed, and we want to try to, do what we can to provide that high-quality public safety service. And just because there's some staffing shortages, we can't give up. So we got to try to be creative.
Now, I do have one question for the community. So if I'm in Silver Spring and I'm in Wheaton, will I be expecting to see Raven just kind of out, hanging out, looking at the surroundings, kind of doing surveillance at that time, or what will that look like for the community?
No, so no surveillance.
Okay.
The program does not patrol. It's only to respond to 911 or police-generated calls for service. Okay. So the drone is on the landing pad, and when there's a call, 911, or an officer requests air support, we will launch and go to that. And then when the call is stabilized or we're no longer needed, we go right back and land. So it's not going to be up patrolling or anything like that. We have had a community member look up and see the drone, and they were curious what that was. Yeah. So on our webpage, there's a transparency page, which I encourage the public to go to. It's on the police department website under the How Do I tab, Drone as First Responder. Okay. So they'll be able to see the flight maps on where we flew and why we flew, and there's some other dashboard statistical stuff for them to mess around with. That's really good.
There it is.
There's one there.
You can go right to it. Yeah, no, they're all right there. It's kind of cool. It shows little blue dots where they were flying. It shows all the missions. Yep. And then the other dashboard shows. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to tell you right now. The average response time is 114 seconds.
So it's at under 2 minutes
right now.
Yep.
And then so far, since we've been live, we responded to 47 calls for service. And avoided dispatching a patrol unit 6 times. Yep. By them clearing stuff out. So that's great stuff.
Yeah, we expect those numbers. We expect the response numbers to get better. We're in the final stages of trying to get a program called Live 911, which will let us actually hear the calls as they're coming in. So right now we have to wait for the calls to be dispatched. When we get this program, we'll be able to actually hear the 911 caller, which allows us to initiate the launch procedures faster. So that 2-minute response might be even less as we move on. And we're hopeful too. There's a lot of different objectives we're trying to hit. The first on scene is really big for the response times, but then I am curious as we go through this pilot, and we've seen it a few times as the chief has mentioned, where we're going to be able to get there first and then have the patrol units disregard, and we can free them up, and they can go to another emergency, do community engagement, other law enforcement activities. So we hope that we can do that.
So again, this is neat. I think it was a great collaboration, even with, especially with the community and the county council. We went to many meetings, and really this is the way we should do business, right? We work with our community, we work with our governance to make sure we put forward a good program. So I commend you and the rest of the team. Stinger, good job. So you're going to, this is going to be a problem now once we publish this. But if you want to give us the list of everyone else's name, we can help deflect a little bit for you.
Well, nobody has the ego and has taken Maverick. No one is going to do that.
Okay, well, that's
good. So everyone's humble enough to know that nobody is.
Nobody's Maverick. Yeah. Well, we'll make sure to have you back to brief us on the program, and maybe if we get to the point where we're talking about expanding it, if there's successes. We've already talked about some successes, but next time you come, we'll get you one of these bald wigs that I wear and a cigar, and
there we go.
You can report out a little bit more on what we're doing.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you'll be flying a cargo plane over Hong Kong. I'll yell at you.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate you.
See ya.
with us for another episode. We look forward to speaking with you again. Stay safe.
Montgomery County 911, what's the address of the emergency?